Hello everyone, it's Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today was meant to be a Mega Scizor Garbodor build, but after a bit of testing, I actually prefer just a straight Scizor build. So this is the list I'm going to show you guys today. It's just going to be straight Scizor, a few interesting calls in this deck, but for me it's been working a lot better than just the Garbo build. I think kind of just expecting Garbodor to be a lot more, just better. It just turns out that it's a little bit too slow in a lot of situations, and I'll go over why I prefer the Hex build right now, pretty much. So we'll start off with the deck. First of all, for Scizor EX, very decent Pokemon, 170 HP is on the lower side, but Steel Wing does help us be a little bit more bulky on the first turn. We can do 20 damage and reduce any damage done to us by 20 the following turn. It's handy every now and again. Damage-wise, it's not great, but just keeping yourself alive is cool, I guess. And Gale Thrust is actually a pretty decent attack. We do, for 2 metal, a base of 50, but if Scizor EX became our active Pokemon this turn, we do 60 more damage. So that's a magic 110 damage, so that we can deal with Shaymin EXs quite conveniently. So he's nice to chill on the bench and have the potential Gale Thrust option available to us. Before we go into our big old Mega Scizor. And Mega Scizor is getting a bit of hype right now because of his Iron Crusher attack. For 2 Metal Energy, fairly efficient for a Mega, 120 damage. Again, we're in that range where we deal with Shaymin EX, and we're in that range where we're 2-hit KOing other Mega Pokemon quite comfortably. As well as dealing with the majority of Stage 1s out there. I know that stuff like Mega Break can tank it, and that's a bit of an annoying matchup. Basically 120 does sweep up a lot of things quite nicely, and we get to discard either a special energy attached to the opponent's active or a stadium in play, and this is really annoying for a lot of things. If you're incorporating Hex Maniac, you can get rid of double dragons off of Giratinas. If you're doing it against Rayquaza or Mega Mewtwo, you can get rid of DCE, and you can also get rid of their stadiums. You can get rid of Shrine, or you can get rid of Skyfield as well. So many reasons why both of these sides are really irritating. Additionally, everyone seems to be playing Parallel City right now because there's just hype around Rayquaza, at least on PTCGO. So getting rid of Parallel is good for you because we play our own Parallel, so we can bounce it with the attack and then Parallel either to get rid of our guys or to free up our bench or whatever we need to do. So Iron Crush is a really, really nice attack. Pretty cool. He's bulky as well, 220 HP with that resistance to Psychic means that we have an okay time against Mega Mewtwo. As long as we can keep discarding their energy and keep getting rid of those shrines, we're definitely in the game with a shout, which is pretty cool. Yeah, just a pretty decent option to be honest. The 2 retreat cost is slightly annoying, but can't really play around that. The weakness to fire as well is going to keep Scizor at bay from being like an amazing deck ever because Volcanion EX can just pop out and destroy it whenever we want to. A couple of other annoying matchups, things like Primal Kyogre and Mega Sceptile as well, these sorts of healing tanking decks, pretty awkward for us because we just don't hit the right numbers to deal with them quite often. So that's our big issues, but right now in the meta, dealing with stuff like Xerneas, dealing with Mega Gardevoirs, Mega Mewtwo, Mega Ray, it's quite efficient at doing that in my opinion. We have the 1 Hoopa and the 2 Shaymin EX. This is pretty much standard for most Mega decks. This is like, you know, I know Mega Ray plays way higher counts of these, but seeing Hoopa and Shaymin, you expect these in Mega decks. Scoundrel Ring, so good for just helping you spam lots of Scizor early on, as well as get Shaymin for more cards potentially. And, you know, Shaymin's just your big consistency, draw cards, etc. And then we have the 1 non-EX of Cobalion in this deck. I think it's important to have a non-EX so that we can get around Regice. We do, of course, have Ranger as well. But also just so many different things that Cobalion helps with. He helps us 7 prize game people as well. And he's quite an efficient attacker. Again, it's just that 2 metal energy cost. We do 30 base damage plus 30 more for each prize card your opponent has taken. So we can start threatening Shaymins after the opponent has taken 3 prizes, and from there it just gets higher and higher. Very, very nice non-EX that can skew the trade in our favour, which is pretty good for us. So onto the items now. We're playing the 1 Super Rod, just to recycle our Pokemon and energy as well, because we are playing elixirs in here, so increasing our odds is always helpful. We do play 2 Switch in the deck. I'm not playing any Floatstone, and this is a conscious decision based on the amount of Giratinas around. A lot of the time, if I had Float in the deck, just Chaos Wheel stops it. So I'd rather just have physical switches. Switches are important because everything's fairly chunky in here. 2 retreat on Hoopa, 2 retreat on Scizor, 2 retreat on Cobalion. So Lysandering can be annoying. Normally we have a decent amount of energy around our board though, so and we can parallel away things like Hoopa at the very least. So normally it's not too big of an issue for us, but 2 Switch helps us out, of course. And then 3 Max Elixir. It's a big debate whether to play Mega Turbo or Max Elixir. I prefer Max Elixir by a long shot because we can be proactive with Elixir. One thing you'll start noticing about this format is it's slower. We don't have Compressor, we can't mill through the clunky cards. So every time you're like having to Sycamore away Mega Turbo, you never get the value, or you're ending it and then you're just again not getting the value. Because we don't have Compressor, it's less easy to hit Mega Turbos early. So we just insta-play Elixir. We're playing a fairly high count of basic energy, 11. So we should be hitting these relatively consistently, as if it was like Aquabox. I think they paid 11 to 12. So imagine we're trying that sort of range. So fairly consistent on these elixirs. You need to hit 1 or 2 of these, you know, to keep up. So that obviously before you go Mega, you're going to start stacking them up on backup Scizors, basically. To have a good stream of attackers. Also, it's going to help out on Cobalion as well. So I really just like Elixir because it's proactive. As soon as you see it in the hand, you're going to play it. And that's not the case with Mega Turbo. So it also, when you hit the Elixir, that's 1 card out of your deck. So you've got better draws from then on. So for so many reasons, I prefer Elixir, even though we are a Mega build. Because I think this deck, because it has all basic energy, can get away with it quite nicely. Next up, we have 4 Trainer's Mail, 4 Ultra, and 4 VS Seeker, just a big consistency cards. There should be no surprises about these. I'm seeing these max out in a whole bunch of different decks right now. Onto the supporters, you can see we play a lot. We're playing 1 Pokemon Center Lady. This can help out in matchups where it's Pokemon are trying to 2-hit KO you. If they're in between that sort of 100 to 120 range, it sometimes is a 2-hit. If we throw a Center Lady into the mix, it becomes a 3-hit KO, which is great for us. Also gets us around status if that is ever going to be a problem. We have Pokemon Ranger. This is our way around the likes of Regice, the likes of just all these other things that would annoy you that you need to stop. Even sometimes Giratina, so that you can get tools on board or you can get your stadium in play, stuff like that. Sometimes I've had to Ranger through Giratina because, of course, the non-Mega can do like 110 as well. So it is an option for us. So Ranger's a nice card to have in here just to help us out a little bit. Then we are playing the one-of Team Flare Grunt. This really makes this deck quite disruptive. I really enjoyed this in the Garbodor build, and I've kept it in this one because we're already discarding special energies with Mega Scizor. So also discarding, you know, if they have more special energy or if they have basic energy on top of that, we can add in the Flare Grunt. I think this combo really helps you out against Mewtwo. It really makes it awkward for them to keep committing if they want to get damage change going, or they have to, you know, keep committing if they want to go for the Psychic Infinity as well. And it just means that they can't have backup Mewtwo's quite often because they have to commit all in on the big one in the active position to deal with Scizor, because we have the potential to heal, we have the potential to get rid of their energy, and we have the potential to, you know, knock off shrines, all these other things. We have the resistance, so it's a lot for them to get over. They have to hit basically 240, and we only give them the 60 damage because we only ever have 2 energy on our Megas. So it's a lot of commitment on their side. So the Flare Grunt helps us out there. Again, it's one of these things against Giratina. You can add in Flare Grunt if you don't have Hex at the time, or if you have Scizor, and then you add the Flare Grunt on top. So a lot of good options for this Flare Grunt. It comes in very handy. It's basically a big equalizer. When we're struggling to one-hit things, we can slow people down a turn, set them back a little bit, which is cool. Another one-of is Skyla, just a big consistency card that I like to play in a lot of Mega decks. Skyla is essentially a 5th Ultra Ball for Hoopa, just really good for us. It can get us Spirit Links, get us our Stadiums, get us whatever we need in the right spot. Again, it's VS Secretable to find Switch as well, so it acts as like your best option for AZ. I know it's not AZ, but it's a VS Secretable switching card if we still have a Switch in deck. So very, very useful, nice utility, good card. Onto the 2-ofs. 2 Lysandre, the deck is great at dealing with Shaymin. Mega Scizor and regular Scizor both hit the right numbers, so that's cool. And just in general, picking off things. If people are charging up big attackers on the bench, Lysandre just to take off their energy sometimes with the Scizor and start putting pressure on. Stuff like that is good. 2 End, just for a bit of shuffle draw. I like the split of 2 and 4. I could see a 3-3 split even of N and Sycamore, depending on how aggressive you want to be with this list. But at the moment, I'm happy with the split of 2 and 4. And 2 Hex Maniac. So the big discussion point is, I said at the start of the video, I'm not playing Garb. I don't like Garb in here as much as I like the straight build. Firstly, it's because we gain spaces. Garbodor takes up the 2 slots of Trubbish and Garb, and then he's 3 Floatstone, right? So the 3 Floatstone become 2 Switch, which gains us 1 slot, and that meant that I gained us, and then we have the 2 Hex. So we gained 3 slots. With that, I was able to add in the Cobalion as our non-EX, and I was able to cut from 2 Mega Turbo that I was playing into 3 Max Elixir and add an extra energy. So these 3 slots I think are really useful. Like 3 slots is a big deal. Changing to Elixirs I've absolutely loved. Just being more proactive, just more consistent I feel. I miss energy drops a lot less just because of that. I like the Cobalion as an attacking threat. And I just like having 11 energy as well. It's just, you're going to see it in your opening hand more. You're just going to not miss it when you get hit by N and stuff like that. So I think for slots alone, I think it's worth just playing the Hex. Obviously, you're technically a little weaker against like Klefki and Greninja and these things, but I still think 2 Hex is a high enough count to get away with it. And what I really like about Hex Maniac is that you can do it on turn 1. This is something you can't do with Garb, unless I was playing Wally in the deck, which I'm clearly not going to. We can turn 1 Hex decks, and it's so big of a deal to do it against Mega decks right now. Stop their turn 1 Hoopa, stop their turn 1 Shaymins. It's such a big deal. So if you're going first and you can get a Hex off, you're just in great shape, and really sets up the Scizor well. Just in any matchup, setting up the Hex is great for you. I feel like this is one of the most broken supporters we have in the new standard format, because there's no like Compressor VS Seeker combo. People are very reliant on Shaymin to draw, and Hoopa to get their EXs out, because there's a lot of heavy EX decks. There's like Darkrai, Giratina, then every Mega under the sun people are trying out all over again. So Hex is great to play on turn 1. So for space issues, or just helping out with space issues, and the fact that it can go on turn 1 makes me just love Hex way more than Garb. So there we go. And for Sycamore, there we go. On to Stadiums, 2 Parallel. It's going to help us out a lot against Rayquaza. It means that we can like do a completely vicious combo of like N plus Parallel plus Iron Crusher to get rid of the DCE. Or we can even go Flare Grunt for their basic energy, get rid of their DCE Parallel, and they're just weeping at that point. It's just so difficult for them to recover. The awkward thing is, the slightly better thing if you're playing the Garbo build is that Rayquaza has an even harder time to reset up. Right now, because we're just playing the Hexes, oftentimes they can Hoopa to get their board back up, as long as they can replace the stadium and stuff like that. So that's something to bear in mind, but for now I think it's fine. And then we're just playing for Spirit Link, just maximizing consistency to get these out. There's no downside to putting links on our board pretty much right now, so all good there. And just round it off with 11 energy. We want good outs with Elixir, and we want to have enough to get going and not miss a beat with this deck, because it's slow enough damage output wise that we need to hit an attachment every turn, otherwise we are falling behind. Just a quick note, if you do want to play the Garb build, this is the build that I was going by. Thought I'd just show this off so you can see the spaces that I had to make. Had to go back to Mega Turbos because I could only fit 2, didn't have enough space for that 11th energy, so it felt more worth it to have Mega Turbo, a guaranteed hit of energy. And I also didn't have, I had to cut Cobalion of course, and went to these Float Stones. So that's how it would look if you want to test out the Garb build, be my guest. But for now, I don't even think there's many changes I'd like with this list, other than counts of cards rather than introducing new ones. So don't have many different cards that I could suggest for you guys right now. I think it's pretty well streamlined and pretty decent for right now. So we'll hop into the ladder and see if we can handle some good matchups. Scizor's been doing quite well for me today, so hopefully it will continue to do so. Right, we have found ourselves a game, which is pretty cool. Pokemon Sake, or Pokemon Sage maybe, that's what he's trying to say. That's cool. We win the coin flip, which is great for us, so we're not being hexed and we have the potential to hex others, which is cool, and we do have hex in the opening hand. This is going to be dirty. Here we go. So we'll see what we can do here. And we're up against, looks like a Yveltal deck. So we will Ultra Ball. I'm fairly comfortable getting rid of both supporters here because we have 2 VS. Do I really need 2 Spirit Link is the real question. I think just with 2 VS we're fine to do this. And Hoopa is not prized. We're very happy. 1 Shaymin is prized. I'll do a quick little run through. 2 Energy prized, which makes our Max Elixir look a little bit worse. We have our Flare Grunt. We have a lot of things here looking pretty good for us. Okay. So we will go for Hoops. And we're going to grab ourselves some EX Pokemon. Against Dark, we have to be a little bit conscious if they're playing Giratina, of course. But additionally, of Umbreon EX, which they could be playing. So we're going to have to keep our eyes out for these sorts of things. If the Shaymin can give me an energy drop, I'm pretty content to Hex here. If not, I might have to Sycamore. We'll have a look. Ooh, plenty of energy. Perfect. We will just attach Hex Pass. Seems good to me. And we'll see how good they can get their board state going with Hex underway. It can be annoying for, you know, Darkrai Giratina and even the Elixir Dark builds, so I feel like no one likes Hex turn 1, so having 2 is just great. And straight away, it's Ordino that we're up against, and Ordino should be quite an easy matchup for us. Wow, he played down Hoopa. Let's let him know that I hexed. Sorry, bud. Yeah, Ordino should be an easy matchup for us regardless, because we're sort of trading in terms of damage, but I can get rid of DCEs every turn, so I feel like we're okay. He drops the smiley face. Had to get rid of 2 Ordino in his first hand as well. Can't feel good for him right now. Sends another smiley face. Deary, deary me. Yeah, he wasn't paying attention. That's awkward. I don't know what to say, mate. You should have been. That's all I can say, really. Trainer's Mail for Delinquent. Another Trainer's Mail. For Lysandre, these probably aren't the things he's looking for unless he has already Ultra Ball in hand. So he had Dark Energy to non-EX Yveltal, and he's going to Oblivion Wing just for the 30, which seems pretty good. No energy to accelerate either in the discard, so it'll come back over to us momentarily. Let's see. He just has to press OK. That would be nice of him. But yeah, had we not hexed, obviously Hoopa starts going crazy, gets like 2 Ordinos and a Shaymin most likely, and his board state would look a lot better than it does right now. But hey, here we go. So we get N, which I might prefer to getting rid of all my resources right now. I think I will. Even though we didn't do too much, I feel like protecting the VS Seekers are really important in this meta. And we do have Ultra Ball for Scizor. I'm going to play it before the Trainer's Mail, because we need better odds to increase for getting either Switch or a supporter. So, oh, it's a Switch. Okay, question is, do we take Switch and then rely on 1 Trainer's Mail? We're not getting the 1-hit KO anyway, but it's such good pressure. Actually, it's not that good pressure. It's only a non-EX. We'll chill. Can still potentially get Switch. See, the second Trainer's Mail, let's pretend that, you know, the stats would be the same. Would have got punished, right? So, I'm content to Mega for turn and pass it over. One potential card actually is Giovanni's Scheme that you could add into this deck. And that way you get over things like non-EX Yveltal, Fright Knight, and also Mega Break. So consider those options, I guess. Could be pretty cool. And other like stage 2 decks if Garchomp is going to be a thing, stuff like that. So Giovanni's a pretty good card. Did he just Ultra Ball away his third Ordino? Oh no. No. Thought he did. Looks like he searches out an Ordino, at least. So deciding to play it with the Dark coverage rather than the Magina coverage. Magina would really help him out against Scizor, of course. But oh well. He's got rid of 3 Mega Turbo. Interesting to see that he plays a lot of energy recovery. He has non-EX Yveltal and 3 Mega Turbo at least. So that's a lot, I would say. And he decides to keep it on this one, which is kind of a cool idea, so that he is protected from Mega Scizor. And looks like we whiff the switch, which is not great. We'll slap down Max Elixir, and we do hit one. So feeling pretty happy about this. We got a strong board state. I'm pretty happy to Ultra Ball into another Mega here just to do it. Also thins our hand if we're going to be end. I don't think we really particularly need Ranger in this matchup. One thing that's going to be pretty good for us in this matchup is going to be Parallel. We can deny like the easy Shaymin prizes that he's going to look to snipe. So we'll just hand it over. Potentially I could have manually attached to the Cobalion here and had like an attach retreat play, but I feel like I'm not too sad about allowing him to have this sort of tempo. It doesn't really affect us right now, so I'm fairly content. Our opponent goes for the Parallel for us, which is a kind thing to do. I think I want to get rid of the Hoopa before the Shaymin here. Just because of Lysandre, like he's already got a Lysandre stall target actually. No, we'll get rid of Shaymin. We'll just clear it off now. Why not? We can always bounce the Parallel with our attack, remember. So the opponent is getting quite a bit of energy onto the board. I believe his manual attachment was here. Want to see what else he can come up with. Obviously he's still whiffing on the Megas because there's 2 in the discard pile. Does play a Sycamore to get another Dark Energy into the discard. Here is a Mega, and it's probably just going to be another Oblivion Wing this turn. But we shall see. Yep, just Oblivion Wing. Now Cobalion is in range of an easy prize for him, but it's a single prize rather than 2 prizes, so we don't mind it too much. And we get a Scizor. So our attachment will be to the Cobalion. And we're just going to VS Seek Sycamore here. Dig for a switch. Would be pretty ideal. And still whiffing, which is sad for us. Oh man. Looks like we're quick guarding. Protects us from the non-EX Yveltal at least, so it forces him to bring a EX into the active, which isn't actually the worst idea in the world. Maybe I could have done that last turn as well, huh? Probably a better idea than attaching here, to be honest. Oh well. Just going to see the Oblivion Wing for wobble, wobble, wobble 0. Yeah. So now I can Skyla for switch. Do I need the switch that badly? Because this is just going to be sniped, right? So attach retreat. Don't need to attach anything else anywhere else, so we'll just go for that old retreat. Could play the Super Odd now. I think I will, because it increases our Max Elixir odds if I need it later. We'll play... Do I want to play Shaymins in this matchup? Probably not. We do want to put 1 Scizor back though. We'll do this. And we will crush them and get rid of the parallel, just because we can. And all the Pokemon just shift over a little bit to let us know that we can put down more bench. Audino gets a double colourless energy attached to it. Then we see a Shaymin setting up. Both of us still at 6 prizes, and our decks are still already fairly low. Seems like a bit of a theme within this metagame. We see another parallel. This time to get rid of his Shaymin and the Hoopa. So it's Scizors v Audino's exclusively. And we'll see what happens. Just the Oblivion Wing for 30. Any more Dark Energy? None. So should be good here. There's nothing I particularly need to do. Grunt doesn't give me much. I could Lysandre here. Yeah, I think that seems good. Put him back in attachment. It's got to be annoying for him, right? How many VSs do we have left? Still 2. Okay. We want the DCE gone. It's just his first DCE, but still, it's going to be irritating for him. We will see a Trainer's Mail for an Escape Rope. And it's going to play Rope. Okay. If we go Cobalion, he can take the easy 1 prize. If we go Hoopa, this comes up, takes the easy prize, and deals a lot to Hoopa. And we have to then Skyla switch next turn, but I still prefer that. Yep, here comes the Mega. And there's an N. Okay. Let's see if we can draw into either Skyla or our switch again. That would be ideal. Oh boy. This could be an issue. So the Symphony, I imagine, is going on to Cobalion here. Yeah. Just going to take that single prize real quick. So we get VS Seeker. That can't help us switch these days, unfortunately. So we'll Trainer's Mail, find ourselves switch. Panic is averted, which is good. We'll switch into the slightly damaged one. Do I Grunt here? Is the question. I think I want to keep some VSs around. Because Centilady is just as viable as Team Grunt here. I think I'm just going to go for the Crusher. There's another non-EX Yveltal. And an attachment. It's another reason why we kind of want to keep VSs around so that we can keep dealing with EX Pokemon. Our opponent is, of course, playing the Centilady and goes for it. And we get hit for 110 and 52 hoops. So that's pretty grim for us. Where's AZ now, boys? Trainer's Mail can grab us N if we want. Skyla's not too much help. I'm going to grab N here. So, looking at win conditions, I can put him down to 1 prize next turn if I don't heal this. And that seems like a good idea. Because then we can throw the N into the mix. So I think I'm not healing, I'm just going for Flare Grunt instead. Because this forces the commitment to remain on the active, right? So it's kind of like getting the heal, but in a different way, really. Because I want him to still take 4 prizes. And then we have a big old way to come back, but don't think it's unrealistic that we can do it. Especially because there's 2 Ordino sat right there. There's the DCE. So he has had to commit to the Ordino, which is great for us. Really good. And he plays an N on us before we can N him, which seems fine. We still have 6 outs to try and get our N back. And we don't, which is a shame. He's kind of looking for Super Rod, surely, at this point. But no, just the Magical Symphony. Is he going to take 4 prizes? Yes, he's going to take it while he can. So we bring up Scizor. No N. That's a shame. There he is, just chilling over there. Do I Skyla for N? I think I have to. We'll get him next time. Crusher. So the opponent has Ultra Ball, gets rid of 2 Spirit Links. Actually been a very close game. For an Absol, that's an interesting tech. Was of course in the World's winning list as well. It's actually going to Ultra Ball again. Maybe just deck thinning, playing around N as best he can, it looks like. Seems like a good idea to me. Gonna grab himself Shaymin. Ultra Balls again. Shaymin and N go to the discard. There's Lysandre. And a poke for 30. An attachment to the other Ordino. So we top Spirit Link, which seems nice. I'm not going to end because there's no real need for us to. He's limited his hand very low. And I feel like it doesn't give us much anymore. We'll have better odds to draw Lysandre by not ending. Just thinking if I want to play Ultra Ball here just to get these cards out. But the deck out option is still potentially there, even though there's only got 1 prize. How many DC are left? Still 2. Okay. Wheel Crusher. Times like these where you really want that Giovanni. But oh well. Still feeling okay in this spot. There's another Oblivion Wing. We'll play Switch. And we'll just crush her. Get ourselves Shaymin, which we can't really play in this spot. See a DC attachment to Ordino. And there's a VS Seeker for N. And the opponent actually goes for Lysandre. And it's going to Oblivion Wing. So he's got rid of his last VS and both Lysandre. So paying retreat really does seem fine here. We're about to be end, so we want to do this. Because Lysandre wins us the game next turn. Do I get rid of the parallel? No. Another parallel. Should have got rid of it. Whoops. So we look in good shape, unless he plays 3 Lysandre and somehow has lots of bench Pokemons. He does play 3 Lysandre. That's insane. But he doesn't have the Pokemon to back it up. So we top deck into Lysandre, which is kind of cool. Let's show him that I could have drawn everything just to be swag about it. Just to let him know. And very close game to Mega Ordino. Don't underestimate it. It's pretty good in EX v EX wars because dealing with easy Shaymins and Hoopas is child's play for that deck. So very interesting, very cool idea. He had some painful discards in that game, so that really did aid me a little bit. But yeah. So let's have one more game, and then we will head on out of here with Scizor Hex, which has been doing well so far for me. That was a pretty close game. Going down to 1 prize while we still had 6 was kind of scary. But he didn't really have the board to back it up, so it felt pretty okay to me. We will flip a coin. We do win it, so again we have the option to Hex turn 1, which is pretty sweet. And again we have that Hex in hand, which is pretty sweet. We'll keep Cobalion in hand in case I want to Ultra Ball this away. And our opponent's using Fairy Sleeves, so that could be cool. Looks like we're up against Rainbow Road. We actually have a fairly ideal start without even having to Hoopa Shaymin. So I think we just won't. Everything we needed in our opening hand, so there's no need to draw cards right now. We can Ultra Ball for Hoopa Shaymin next turn. And we also have the Sycamore to back it up, so feel pretty content here. Looks like we're up against Rainbow Road. It's a deck that has weakness to metal and it is reliant on special energy, so seems good. Depends on what techs he plays though. Looks like there's a Joltik. The Galvantula obviously is a dual type, which increases the Rainbow Road potential, as well as being a nice attacker if you are foolish enough to put down lots of easy prizes, i.e. Shaymin EX. Looks like he's going to retreat into the Joltik so that he can get a Max Elixir going, which is nice, and he's just going to pass it over to us. Our top deck is very nice. It is Pokemon Ranger, and that is a card that we can happily get rid of straight away. Even though he is boasting the Joltik, because we're dealing with it this turn, I feel happy enough to go for Shaymin via Hoopa here. So that's what we're going to do. It means we can also grab ourselves a Mega to guarantee it, and we can fill up our bench to the max with another Scizor. Why not? Alternatively, I could just discard this Scizor. But I think it's fine just a bench here. All the lads are out. We can set up for some cards. And again, it means we can Hex this turn, which is insanely good for us. Do I want to parallel this turn? Don't think I do. I want to save it for when he actually commits his bench. This is so dirty. Chaining that Hex. Getting that Iron Crusher on. All seems pretty good to me. We grab ourselves another Sycamore. Nice. And we're in pretty good shape here. The opponent promotes the Xerneas. Does go for a Trainer's Mail. Looks like that was the top deck most likely. Goes for a Lysandre. Looks like he's trying to stall this turn. And indeed, that's what it is. And we see a retreat into Jirachi just to boot. So, could take the opportunity to get an extra search in here. So how many switch do we have? They're both in deck. I still think we have to commit with Sycamore here. We're going to parallel his side. It's likely he's got replacement stadium, but still can't be happy with N. But it looks like we whiff the switch, do we? Yeah. So we have N for next turn. We can just grab Elixir. Start trying to power up another Scizor and then potentially Mega for turn. Looks like we do hit one. Love having 11 energy in this deck. Okay, we can manual to Hoopa and guarantee ourselves a way out next turn. Or we can be greedy and hope for a switch. I feel like we're quite ahead. So let's just capitalize on pressure and attach to the active. And we'll finish our turn with the Mega. There is some argument to maybe playing a third switching card or just like one Floatstone in addition to 2 switch. Wow, he had to Ultra Ball away Skyfield and Ultra Ball. That's got to be ugly. Goes for Shaymin EX, so clearly he was holding on to that from turn 1. So our 2 hexes were very nice. The Lysandre stall did buy him a turn of freedom to get some setup going. Even though we've lost both of our counter stadiums, we are, of course, Scizor that can get rid of Skyfield, so I'm not too concerned just yet. We do so a Max Elixir and an attachment for turn, as well as Skyfield. Let's see how much more he can do this turn. We're going to see an N. So we shall see if we can get into a switch. No, we don't, so playing it safe is helpful here. Unless, of course, he can knock out Hoopa, which would be cool to see. Another Elixir hit, so I wonder how many he's playing. Just a pass. So we will link up the dudes. Attach to Hoopa. And I think it's time for a Hex again, to be honest. Because he still doesn't have much going for him. We can get rid of the Sky Field as well. Hex seems fine to me. There's nothing else I need this turn, so... Scizor back to his old tricks. Taking another prize and getting rid of Skyfield in the process. So that's 2 gone for the opponent now, I believe. And 2 prizes taken for us. Yes. So the Xerneas is ready to go. Right now it's only doing 70, because there is a base of 10. We see an EXP share, so it might just be pure elixirs with EXP shares, so no specials at all, which is an interesting approach. We are going to see a VS Seeker for that N, and N does get played. We're only drawing 4 cards, of course. But this Hex spam has been pretty dirty so far. Now we draw the switch. He's playing Golurk as well. Old school dual typer. The original dual type. Really not the original. There's been plenty of dual types in the past, but you know what I'm saying. Oh, so he does also play specials. Really interesting build. What's he going for here? Maybe like a Remoraid? Oh, another Joltik. So it looks like he's playing like 2/2 counts of these cards. And there is the Rainbow Force for 130. Not too shabby. But we have attachment. We have Hex in hand. So you know what that means. Yep, we'll play it. Just considering my options here for the next turn. But I feel like we're pretty much always going to play it. Very, very awkward matchup for Rainbow Road, I would say. They're down to 1 stadium now. Joltik comes into the active. See a Super Rod. Going to get some of that energy back, I imagine. As well as maybe that Xerneas. Oh, and the Jirachi. Don't really know why Jirachi promo, other than it being a different type to the rest. It's not going to be too useful in this matchup, other than chilling on the bench. The opponent finally has a Sycamore. Get some stuff going at last. Let's see how many dual types he can get going. We've hexed, so Golurk is still... If he evolves into Golurk, it's still just the 1 type. So far 3, 6, 9, 12 if he evolves, 15, 18. Potential to hit 180 this turn. Unless he has Skyfield and then it goes up exponentially. But remember, he has been hexed, so who knows. Another thing he needs to do is really get a replacement attacker, like another Xerneas with another EXP share, most likely. Or at least an attachment. There is Volcanion, which is 2 more types. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 210, 220. Yeah, he's got it. Has he got an attachment? He has. That's really big. Big old Rainbow Force, boys. That's nice. So we'll go into Mega. And we'll play Trainer's Mail. We already have, I believe, Sycamore in the discard pile. We do. So there's nothing I really want to take here. We'll just VS Seeker for Sycamore. hit a couple of energy. Looking to hit Mega Turbo as well, of course, or Max Elixir, that's the one I meant. Max Elixir would be very nice. We do hit it. So good when we do. Just going to commit everything to it while we do, because we're likely to be end next turn. So we're going down to 2 prizes. We will just crush her. And we'll see again how the opponent can respond to that. All we need really next turn is Lysandre for game. Haven't got any in the discard pile, so it would have to be a physical Lysandre. We do have Ultra Ball for potential Shaymins next turn, as long as he doesn't N us. But we shall see. The raw output of Rainbow Road is quite scary. There is a Float Stone to the Volcanion. And a VS Seeker for the N, as we did predict, of course. Oh, feels bad, man. Oh, that's just dirty. At least make me have to like Shaymin for it or something. Level ball. He plays a few level balls. Plays 3 and concedes because it looks like he whiffed energy. So there we go. Scizor takes down a couple of decks, and I'm personally just backing the Hex build. I mean, you saw how. I mean, we went first both times and we got Hex both times, so clearly you can see how it does work there. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the Scizor Hex build as well as Scizor Garbodor. There are pros and cons for both, definitely, but right now I'm very happy with the Max Elixirs instead of Mega Turbos, and I'm happy with Hex over Garb. Let me know, get involved in the discussion down below, but for now, it has been Joe from OmniPoke, and I will see you guys next time.